Good afternoon, Rosie.
Hello.
Why do I
It's
have all of
just
these
us and
notes?
the AIs.
I'm saying it's us and all of these note takers. No, let me see, who am I getting on? Ebony, Miss Ellen, and Rashika. We got all these note takers in here. And then Rashika shows up. Uh, I hope these note takers, I'm gonna make this announcement when everyone's in here. They got 1 minute.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good afternoon.
We have your note taker in here. Uh, Carl is going to show up. He's not going to send his note taker to be uh, on time. Maggie is here. How are you, Maggie? Dr.
Hello.
Cortasia, how are you? Good afternoon.
Hello, Art. How are you?
How are you, Carl? You sound very pleasant.
I'm doing well, and it's good to see everybody here who can be seen.
Yes.
And I just want to make a note. If you see my icon with my finger pointing up, that was the podium that Governor Hochul was using to do a presentation at at the Eckerd Building when they opened up the Eckerd Building, and she was taking pictures about 5 feet to my left, which would have been to the right, with all the other political folks there. So I went behind I went behind the podium. I think this is the seal of the government. Governor of New York is on the podium. And I gave my phone to one of her staffers who kindly took a picture of me behind the podium. So
Wow.
that
Well,
kind of
I don't
sums
see.
me up. That sums me up in a nutshell. I'm kind of a goof. I like to get work done and I like to have fun at the same time. So
Awesome. Super
that's the story
fantastic.
behind that picture.
I don't see a picture, but thank you for the
Oh, okay.
story.
Yeah, there's I don't know. I'm looking at my own icon here and it's a picture of me with my hand behind my finger pointing up behind the podium where the governor was. So let me I don't know if I have that available.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And I do see a few others. Mr. Walker is on. Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. All right. We're going to get started. Asantua, how are you? Wait a minute. I
I'm
am
good. I'm chewing on my ice. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be on camera in like
you
two
chewing
minutes.
ice.
I am. It's so good.
This is one of those things that you bring ice, you got to bring enough for everybody.
Sorry,
Uh,
guys.
you got to remember that next time. Um, I'm looking at something really quick before we get started. Am I seeing Nadia? Nadia, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
And I hear something in the background. I just heard it.
Sorry, yeah. She's crying.
Welcome back, Nadia. Congratulations on the
We
baby.
have a new addition to the family. Congratulations, Nadia. And
yeah.
uh,
But you'll be
I,
fine.
I would say it's good to see you on, but it is good to see you on. You're back a lot earlier. All right. let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen and we'll um, get into our presentation for the day. Speaking of such, I am going to also, are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. Uh, so Katie Segura with the Hallmark team, our community development planner, is on maternity leave, as most of you know, and she's expecting soon. So we will have another addition to the family. So we are excited for all of what's going on, and so for the next several months, you all will be stuck with me. So that's just something you're going to have to deal with. All right.
We didn't sign up for that.
I know, but this is y'all pray for me. That's what you do. Uh, so we'll get into our agenda. We have our community engagement updates. We'll talk a little bit about the interactive website, um, some of the data and the tools from this. Give me a second here. I'm going to end sharing because I do believe I have something on the agenda, and I'm trying to see if that uh, individuals here. Okay, yes. We'll get back to the presentation. We want to go over a few things with the um, the survey on the website. There we go. And then in the agenda that I sent out to all of you, one of the things that we sent was an opportunity for an interactive session, construction without disruption. What do we need to hear from the residents? And so we'll go through kind of a 4-question discussion session, and we'll get some feedback on this. One of the things that we'll do is take our time and go through this. It's an interactive session, an opportunity that we want to go through this, and then afterward we'll have some stakeholder updates. In the stakeholder updates, we have a wonderful update. So the Buffalo Sewer Authority is looking at coming up with a mascot, and then Taylor Brown from J.M. Davison is going to talk a little bit about what that process looks like and how you can participate and be involved, not as a mascot. She will explain that briefly once we conclude here. I am, excuse me, sorry about this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through the survey results. And I tell Kate this quite often, only because we have, this is the survey, and I'll back up just a little bit because we have a new addition to the Stakeholder Advisory Committee. You may see the name there. I am excited to have this individual with us, and that is none other than Mrs. Angie Liverette with the Norfolk Block Club. Hand clap, balloons, confetti, hearts, emojis. We want to make sure that we are acknowledging Angie, and I'm going to do this. Forgive me for going back and forth with my screen here, but I want to stop sharing, and I'm going to give Angie just a few moments to introduce herself. And Angie, you do have to talk about the latest endeavor of your block club and what you guys have embarked on. So I'm going to give you the floor.
Wow, I wasn't expecting all that. What a introduction. I appreciate you. You and I always have conversation. Maybe not always the kindest conversation. But I appreciate you listening, and taking what I say to heart and, following through. So you are writing my book. Thank you for having me. As he shared, my name is Angie Davis Leverett. Some of you may or may not know me or maybe heard of the name, but I am president of Norfolk Avenue Block Club number 1. And now we have grown into a nonprofit. We still have the block club, but now we're growing to be able to fit into the changing dynamic of Buffalo and the community, to be able to build from within, to be able to do the things that we visioned to do, but wasn't able to do it because we were at that ceiling cap of being a block club and at everybody else's mercy, and working for them in order to get the things that it's not that we wanted, that we should have been able to get without having to do all that extra work to get it. And so we're having our first event in partnership and in sponsorship with ECMC, where we listen to people from the community, and no one knew what to do in case of a traumatic trauma event. So we're putting on a Stop the Bleed event this Saturday. I'm sorry to share that we are at full capacity. We were at full capacity when we announced it 2 months ago, but you can still stop in. Population Health will be there. They'll be giving free blood pressure screening and other information to try to gauge what is important to people in the Delavan community, Delavan Grider community, so that we would know what type of resources to share from lived events and bring it to the community. So I thank you all for your support. We are a baby org, but we got a big vision. And I thank you for including us in the stakeholders meeting, which may not be directly impact you in your community, but you have to learn so when it comes your way, that you will know how to handle it. And I appreciate you giving me that opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for
No,
that
thank
fa-
you.
fantastic introduction. Well, we're going to have, a blessing service if we keep saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm truly honored that you're here with us, and we are grateful for your contribution. All right, let's get back to it. And I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about our survey results. Okay. So the point of the survey, and this is a good opportunity. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but this is a good opportunity for a refresher, to bring some of you up to speed and definitely introduce to Mrs. Liverette. When we first began the project, we wanted to make sure that we were engaging on all levels, both in person, boots on the ground, and then also having a virtual capacity that we could expand our reach with engagement. And so we created an engagement website platform that included a survey, and the whole point of the survey is to allow us to be able to keep a pulse on what the community is saying with regards to our outreach, and eventually engagement efforts. So with that, to date, we had a total of 4,587 views, uh, 3,321 visits, total visitors, 2,053. Those who have contributed on the site has been roughly about 91. Um, One of the things that's important for us is to always keep a pulse on some of those relevant topics, the best ways to reach and engage the Buffalo community. We wanted to make sure that we still, had a pulse on that. Largely social media community workshops. What people are saying is they want to have the opportunity for us to touch and reach and engage in person, but at the same time have the convenience if they are not able to make meetings, that they can still have the same type of access to information. And what we try to do is provide that through the virtual context. And how can we ensure that the community voices are genuinely being represented? regular community meetings. We've had, district meetings last year. We still continue to keep up with meetings as we roll out more project-related um, efforts, and as projects become available online, we are doing more of that engagement with stakeholders within those specific neighborhoods and making sure that we are reaching and doing those efforts to make sure that they are informed about the projects that are coming down the line in their neighborhood. Um, Technical information and questions 5 and 6. How can we make technical information about the Queen City Clean Waters Initiative accessible to everyone? Visual and graphics continues to be the lead with that. And what partnerships should we be engaged in? Buffalo Public Schools. Not much has changed from the last couple of months with this. We did get a survey here and a survey there, but for the most part, the data has stayed the same. We wanted to make sure we knew how can we engage the underrepresented and historically marginalized communities in this process. Collaboration with local advocacy groups still remains the lead there. Also, what is the creative idea for building public interest? Interactive exhibits. We had a really, really awesome example display and model at the Queen City Clean Waters Fair that turned to be very, very effective for people to learn about how clean water works. And so we're looking to incorporate more of that into our outreach efforts. In addition to all of this, the important thing is that we're looking at this within the framework of the spectrum of engagement. And I'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. When we look at question 9, what information or support would you need to feel empowered to participate? Largely here, ongoing updates about the Queen City Clean Waters Project. We try to make the engagement website accessible. We try to make sure that we're communicating the tool, making QR codes available, telling people about the link. There are some things, because we had this survey up for some time. And as we are putting together the report um, for the participation plan, public participation plan, this is an opportunity to revisit the survey and to start thinking about how we can have maybe the next phase of survey questions so that we can continue to keep the pulse on the engagement. And then question 10, how can we assure ongoing communication and transparency? To here, updates on social media. E3 Communications has done a tremendous job. Those of you who are on social media, if you're on LinkedIn and you follow the Buffalo Sewer Authority on LinkedIn, they have tremendous, and consistent information that's scheduled and that appears regularly throughout the weeks and throughout the months. And so that's a very, very good way of staying up to speed on what's going on with the Queen City Clean Waters program, and then also ongoing updates, Queen City Clean Waters Water Initiative. So question 11 was an open-ended question. Anything else you'd like to know or learn? And so we had a series of things, and I think the one thing that comes out of this is making sure that information is accessible, especially within the areas where people are staying and where people are living. So there's a number of different things here. We will share these survey results once after this meeting, and we'll make it accessible to everyone where you can look a little bit more in depth with regards to some of the results and what individuals are saying. Okay, I am going to turn it over to Yolando, and he is going to give us a brief update on some of the events.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm going to give an overview of past and upcoming engagement activities for the month of March. Starting with some things that happened earlier this month, the project management team, and Rosie met with Council Member Wyatt on March 4th. And on March 19th, there was a follow-up meeting with Councilman Wyatt and the Parks Department that took place again on March 19th. On March 11th, the project management team, attended the East Buffalo Environmental Forum held at the Meriwether Library. That was attended by both Rosie and Taylor from J.M. Davidson. The same day and time, I attended the St. Mary and Academy Block Club meeting, where I provided the Block Club a brief overview of the program and reminded the attendees about the Genesee Street project. As for events coming up, oh, I see Rosie with her hand up.
Yes, just we should get it onto the calendar. The same night as those two events, Regina attended the Jefferson Avenue streetscape project and spoke to the Delavan projects.
Sounds good. Yes, we'll have to add that to the calendar. Thank you. And then, yes, and then there was also the Trinidad Neighborhood Association meeting on March 26th. Oh, I'm sorry, that's looking ahead. So, yeah, and then tomorrow, March 25th, I'll be attending a virtual meeting hosted by the Western New York Green Together, which is a group of citizens, community partners, and organizations that work together to restore, protect, and advocate for clean and thriving environment in all 8 counties of Western New York. The goal in that meeting is for me to introduce the project, expand some partnerships, identify potential events that we can attend, and again, increase our program awareness. March 28th, quite a few things going on that day. There will be 3 Saturday academies. The first at 9 a.m. will be Lovejoy School number 43, where Hallmark and Stantec will be presenting on the green infrastructure projects. Then also at 9 a.m. At Bennett School number 363, there will be BSA representatives, as well as at 10 a.m. Highgate School number 80, BSA representatives will be there to represent the Queen City Clean Waters Project. Also on March 28th, there will be the Breckenridge Street Project Open House. That will be at 11 a.m. at 1215 Niagara Street. So overall, this is a busy engagement period as we wrap up March and we begin preparing for April. And that is all I have for today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lando. Just a couple of things. Going back, yes, the Hallmark team will be at School 43 this upcoming Saturday. Let me clarify and put in context presentation. We'll be meeting with the Community School Navigator, talking a little bit about the Green Infrastructure Project and a few things, but we'll be there to really observe and look at the Saturday Academy. And this is also kind of some of the conversations we've been having about a STEAM program that we've put in place. We're not rolling it out just yet. There's still some things we need to tweak. There's some things we still need to get approved. But we are going to begin the preliminaries of getting involved and attending, some of the Saturday academies at School 43 and the project that's going on over at Hennepin Park. And the other thing is that you also see here, and I left it up here, bit of a typo here, but Rosie did an amazing job. Where are you, Miss Ellen? We were at Trinidad last night,
I'm here.
the 23rd, yes. And we were hanging out with the Trinidad Neighborhood Association. It was
Thank
a
you very
wonderful
much.
meeting. It was really good, Miss Ellen.
Thank you very much. I thought it was well attended, and I'm grateful for Rosie and the presentation and the engagement, and everybody stayed to the end. It was amazing.
It was really good. It was very informative. And Rosie, I didn't know if you wanted to say a few words on it, but we had a really good turnout and some really good information. on the Queen City Clean Waters Project program. And we thank you, Miss Ellen, for opening your doors and allowing us to come and hang out with you for a little bit.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Is
Yeah,
Rosie going to say, thank you.
Yeah, I just want, it was a really great event last night, and I keep having these lovely conversations with people that end with, I didn't think I wanted to know anything about sewers, but turns out I really want to hear more. And I have so many questions that I didn't know that I had, and we ran out of time.
Yes.
And so I enjoy getting that comment over and over and over again these days. But then also somebody else came up to me today and it's like, so I see you were at a meeting last night because somebody with the handle Ra-Cha-Cha was posting all over social media about that and sharing slides from the meeting and was live chatting on it. And it's like, okay.
Wonder who that was. Thank you, Rosie.
Awesome.
Yep.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, we want to, so that concludes our engagement updates. What I wanted to do now at this point, and I didn't want to take too much time going through that, and I knew that was going to happen. However, one of the things that we've been doing lately is talking a little bit about how, as we get into the projects, and this has been conversations that's been going on throughout the city of Buffalo, no matter if it's Buffalo Sewer Authority or other programs, projects, development projects, is how do we handle the construction, right? And one of the things that we wanted to do is, as we continue every week or every month rather to bring a new project to you, we want to educate you on the projects that are coming online, and we want to educate you on the location and type of projects that are coming. And I wanted to take a moment during this session to have a discussion that we've entitled Construction Without Disruption, right? Anytime there's a project that's going on, there's always some type of, concerns that we have as residents with regards to noise, dust, and anything else that goes on with projects. And so one of the things that we wanted to do today is to keep a broad, open, absolute opportunity where we can just have dialogue around construction. Yes, this is in the context of the Buffalo Sewer Authority, Queen City Clean Waters, and some of the projects that are going to be coming down the line. But we have had experiences in our neighborhoods with regards to projects occurring, no matter what type of projects that they were. So I wanted to make sure that we kept it broad, but at the same time, have some good dialogue. And the purpose of this is to help us, the program team, think through when projects begin and during the project, post-construction, what are some of the things that we need to be thinking about when it comes to preparing ourselves, you, the neighborhood, about these projects. So we put together a just kind of a interactive session. And if you can see my screen, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to, I put a link in the chat. So now here's what we're going to do. If you click on that link, and then you should have access. Let me know when you do, and don't start yet. But when you have access or you're in, just give me a thumbs up, a yes, wave your hand, or just say I'm in, either one. Sheikah has her thumbs up. Yes, I am looking for responses. Thank you, Brittany. Brittany has her thumb up. Carl, Miss Ellen, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Yolanda. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I'm not sure how to navigate that.
You know what? So here's what I've done. If you're able to see my screen, If you click on the link in your phone, it should bring you to the screen that I'm on, and you should be able to type and participate by way of your phone. So if you look at the chat, go to the chat feature on your phone and then click the link, and everything should be. Okay. And let me know, Pastor, if you, I see we got 16 people in so far, 17 and counting. So I'm going to just start with this, and then as everyone joins, we'll get started with our first question. So construction without disruption, we want to make sure that we have some dialogue around this topic so that you can help better prepare us, the program team, with you. Now, part of the reason we're doing this is if those of you who were here, and I know Pastor Blue, you were here, and a few others, there's some stakeholders that were with us then that are not with us now. When we first started this, we had an in-person strategic planning meeting, and it was centered around the framework of the spectrum of engagement. I don't know if many of you remember that. Some of you may be familiar with that, but that has 5 buckets. Some may think of it as one section leading to another and that they're all interconnected. Others may use this as individually, but those 5 buckets are, hey, if you want to have equitable engagement, not outreach, not just door hangers and door knocking, but if you want to have effective engagement, you should have a section where you inform, consult, involve, collaborate, and then empower. Those were the 5 sections. We've done a lot of information. We've given you a lot of information. You've given us a lot of information. So we want to try to move to that next bucket to go from information, inform to consult. And we want to be in a position where we sit and have you all be consultants to us so that we can start thinking through how we can begin to look at how we're governing and how we're providing information, and then how we're being informed by you, and then learning to collaborate and being involved. So this is kind of like the next phase of this. So I'm going to start with the first question, and let's just dive right in. You'll be able to answer it through your device. So question 1: what should happen before construction begins on your block? I initially put your neighborhood, your block. We like to think of your block because it's more intimate, right? It's one thing if it's in my neighborhood, but it's a few blocks down. But now if it's on my block, it has a different impact. What should happen? Okay, good. They're coming in. And y'all can see this? Can y'all see the responses on the screen? Yes?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, now as these are coming in, this is really good. And you know what also is good about this? Is I can see how many people are in and how many people are responding. Yes, I'm going to be that teacher today. We got 19 people that's in. We want as many responses. This is really good. I should be notified. Hey, door hangers and face-to-face conversations, flyers, community notice, clear notification. This is really good. All right, those of you who have, and we got more responses coming in, if you responded, let's get dialogue going on here. Someone wants to talk a little bit about their response. Don't have to all are anonymous, but you can talk a little bit about why you put what you put. This is a good one. Be notified via text message. Upcoming construction schedule. That's good. That's very creative. Talk a little bit about this.
I think it's me who put the be notified via text. Because I think I've had experiences where like we put hangers on the door, people put them in the trash, but usually people read their text. And so if I receive like an emergency notification or something via text, I'm going to pay attention to it. And I feel like I will be reminded. It's easier to be reminded that way. And like even if I'm driving around the neighborhood, I'll be like, oh, okay, I've received a text about this. So then I won't be like caught off guard or surprised.
That's good. That's good. A text is very, very good and very easy to, it's right on your phone. Thank you, Nadia. That's really creative. That's good. Emergency notifications. Explain this.
Hey, Art, I think Maggie also has her hand raised.
Yeah, I'm not able to see you guys. Okay.
That
Maggie.
was, oh, sorry.
Maggie had her hand raised.
Oh yeah, I can go next. There's two things that I was thinking about, but the first one is that community impact assessment. I think understanding who the tenants are, right? How many are renters? How many are homeowners? Essentially the vulnerable population, and then essentially what's going to be disrupted. I don't think all those pieces are always taken into account. Sometimes it's parking because some of the houses don't have driveways and so forth, so on. So understanding what's going to be disruptive so that it's communicated appropriately to the community and that's that neighborhood. So parking, traffic, utilities, access, whatever is going to be interrupted needs to be identified and then communicated. Right. So just communicating to the neighborhood that there's going to be a construction project, but not actually indicating what the impact of that construction project is going to be, just leads to more frustration. Can I just add one more, Art, or I don't want to hog time?
Absolutely. Yeah. Add more.
And I think the other one is a separate one would be identifying the mechanism that people use to be able to file complaints, right? 311 is available and people always kind of give that out, as well as other options, but it's not always the best option because people sometimes feel like whatever it is that they're communicating kind of disappears into a hole. So what is an all-inclusive type of platform or whatever that people can communicate through to be able to kind of indicate the issues that they are facing and or experiencing so that I guess it minimizes the frustrations that can form on the back end. I'll stop there. There's a few things going in my head, but I'll stop there. Those are the two that are critical in my mind.
That is so good. That is good. We got 4 questions. This is good. Santawa, you're next.
I think Maggie actually just hit spot on what I was going to say. And one of the biggest things is who is that communication piece that takes place after that? Because I've seen that time and time again, like when there's issues, who's the pinpoint or who's the POC that people can actually communicate things that are happening and taking place. And then just always being proactive of how it's going to affect those people on the street, which is on here a couple of times, like how is this affecting my parking? When is the noise going to start? I've experienced where there's been cutoffs and you find out that morning that your electric is going to be cut off an hour later, right? And you're talking about how long is that going to be? Does it affect food? Do I have kids in the house? You know, those type of things. So just proactively letting people know ahead of time things that are happening. One of the things that I know with Northland Beltline came up in a meeting recently too was like with all the construction that's happening over here, and I know this won't be as big as that, but rodents, like, is that plan also communicated? Like, if you're digging up rodents, here's what you can do. Here's what we're doing proactively to ensure that that is not coming into the neighborhood. And to Maggie's point, and if this does happen, how do you communicate, hey, this is an issue of what's taking place and going on?
This is so good. What I'm going to do is so many of these you've already touched on some of the other questions, but I'm going to segue to the next question due to the sake of time. I did see a few other hands up, but I'm going to segue. I will say this with regards to the rodent situation. We're part of a project, another project in the Ken Bailey area, and the developer actually we had excuse our dust notifications that went out to the entire district twice and to the neighborhood twice. We did boots on the ground, door hangers, and all of those things. And there was abatement before the demolition started 3 times. And there still was a rodent issue. And the resident said, you know what? Thank you for the notification. You knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. And it was something that they appreciated the notification and the heads up. So good point about the rodents. I wanted to share that experience. Question number 2. What is the biggest impact on your quality of life from construction? I put some put a few options here. And if you don't see your option, obviously, we have an opportunity to have some brief dialogue around it. I want to spend roughly about maybe 2 to 5 minutes on these. Are you all able to access this? Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Mm. This is good. So far, it looks like traffic and parking disruptions, utility interruptions, access to homes and businesses. That's pretty important. Noise and vibration, and then dust and air quality. Okay. Miss Angie, what is your other option? Miss Angie said, I got a lot to say. It's my first day, but it don't matter to me.
I'm
What's
sorry.
the other option? No.
No, the option is I can't number the option. They are all equally as important as I am living it every day. I live right across
Mhm.
the street from the new Buffalo Public School project. And for day one, it has been a cluster. As a person who is directly impacted by the
Mm,
project, there was community meetings like at the Delavan Greater Center, everywhere. All those boxes that are required for you to check were checked. But was it because you wanted to check a box, or were
mm,
you really concerned how it impacted the community? Okay, because we
mhm,
felt that I'm not speaking by myself, because today I had a conversation with a few of my neighbors today, because every day we are awakened at 7 a.m. They pull into the lot at 6:30. They
mm,
forget they're coming into a residential area. And don't talk about they have delivery trucks that come in before construction starts. Okay. No one's
mhm,
willing to the noise decimal or anything like that. We're sorry, but we have to do the work. So those are things that was not foreseen. Not to talk about the dust that we had when they first dug up the concrete, the asphalt over in that lot. It was a cloud of dust. Okay. Then you complain about the dust, but by the time somebody gets to your complaint, you've already been impacted.
mhm,
Then you have another utilities interruption. Thankful we didn't have any utility interruptions because of the project. I talked about the noise, the vibration, the dust, the traffic. These are small
mhm,
residential streets. We had to, and it's funny because we were not involved truly in the project, because people like to use those trigger words. It's for the children. So
mm,
whatever you had to say about the project, they tried to make you feel bad about it because it was for the children. Now, granted, after the stakeholders who does not live in this community had everything they had to say about the project before they brought it to the neighbors to get our buy-in. So everything was done. So no matter what you said or how you felt did not matter. From the
mm,
simple things of what type of trees you want on your street,
mhm,
because when they leave,
mhm,
the leaves and everything, the roots, all that is what we have to deal with afterwards.
mhm,
Um, what was another thing someone brought up to me? The rocks that are left on the street after they leave. They come and, excuse my French, half-ass and clean up the rocks that are left in front of our homes. And one of the neighbors were concerned about punctures in their tires because of the debris that was left behind. We even had a sewer issue where they did not properly cover the sewers to do the project. So when they dug all that up, they left mounds and mounds of dirt next to people's homes. So when they woke
mm,
up in the morning, the first thing they saw was a mound of dirt that was taller than their home. Now I know that won't happen with the sewer projects, but we're talking, talking about projects in general, to think
sure.
about aftermath after we got our scientists, we got our data, we done did our community outreach, we done checked all those boxes, except for the people who are directly impacted. Then you try to deal with it as you go along, but it's like, oh, we're going to do it. We're not going to ask for your permission. What we're going to do is ask for your forgiveness. But by then you've already went through it. And so what I ask is that you consider that more directly impacting, and I like how you said you did door hangers. We didn't get door hangers. Okay. We had neighbors who were getting a new fence because their property borderlined the project. And to this day, other than the communication where I inserted myself into the project, I haven't gotten any word about the fencing that is going to go up in their backyard. So, and I just because these people don't go to stakeholders meetings or anything like that for whatever reason, it does not mean that when they are directly impacted, that they don't have a concern. And I'm not tooting myself on the back, but if me and my husband and two other neighbors, wasn't directly engaged with the developer, because you can say something to the construction worker, they're doing a job, because that's what a neighbor think. Well, I'm just gonna go over there and take care of it myself. To come to find out that it's nothing that construction worker can do to help you. you know the developer has to have a contact person on that street to talk to them when they have immediate problems. Go around and give them their business cards. Someone mentioned you can call 311. Well, by the time 311 get around to you, you know the inspector comes by, but is the problem really remedied? Now the issue that we had was the sewers were so clogged. Well, we're just going to wait until after the project to fix
You
it.
you
And the
you
project
you
was
you
scheduled huh?
you no, I'm saying you are saying, you know Ms. Leverett, it's your first time here, and you're being the facilitator. You know, uh, you are giving us so much good stuff that I wanted to get this into the next question, but a couple of things that you mentioned that we picked up, and I'm going to segue here. So this is really good. I think first things first, um, traffic and parking disruption seems to be, this impacts the greatest quality of life from the group here. You have access to homes and businesses and utility interruptions. But you said something, Ms. Liverette, that you want to be a part of the process, from the beginning, that things were just brought to you and you were just, you guys were just led to just deal with it. We're going to talk a little bit about this because I think it's important, that engagement with the neighbors, outreach, and then engagement with the neighbors should never be compromised. So here's question 3, and I want to make sure we move through this. And building off of Ms. Liverette's testimony and what she just gave us, what should never be compromised during a construction project? And again, we have uh, some of these answers, or some of the things that you all already put in question 1. Dr. Nichols, I'm thinking about, emergency access, or, making sure that we understand some of those things. What should never be compromised? I want to take about 2 minutes to do this. We have another question after this, but I want to keep in mind, and I want to thank Ms. Liverette for sharing her experience, because this goes on with just about every project. Maybe not all of the all of what was mentioned with Ms. Leverett, which is a lot. But dust, noise, uh, pull in at 6:30, get started at 7 o'clock, which are construction hours, that 7 to 3 time frame. But what are we saying here? What should never be compromised? Safety. I love it. Clear communication. Safety is important, and we want to make sure that we know that. Emergency access, respect for the property. You know, Ms. Leverett talked about a neighbor had to get a new fence. Um, and so that's important. Access to essential services. So it looks like with those who did participate, it looks like the front runner is safety. As more responses continues to come in, let's take maybe about 30 seconds. And those of you who have selected that, what are some ways that what comes to mind with safety? What are some of the ways that we can be educated on how to communicate on being safe? Now, granted, you know, construction workers have very, very high safety standards. At least those that are selected should. But someone elaborate on that safety for residents and workers.
I put in that emergency one. I'm sorry, Art, this is Ellen. You had asked about the emergency response in the first question, but the reason why I put that in was I think they should have an emergency management system set up for any construction or project site in the community where you have people coming in and out and traffic and, you know, the incidents of, you know, hazardous materials and air breathing qualities and all those different things that factor in, especially in my neighborhood where we have people coming off the 198 right into our neighborhood with cars sitting there idling. So just an emergency management system, some type of emergency response system that is immediate where people can find out about an emergency if it happens in real time instead of having to wait and be exposed to any toxic chemicals or anything that would be harmful to their health.
That's good. That's good. Mr. Carl?
Secure barriers within, you know, outlining the work area. There'll be times when there'll be nobody there, maybe on a weekend, and if you have young children, you know, you want to make sure that you just can't have some flimsy kind of like a snow fence kind of outlining where to stay out of. It has to be a secure barrier where it's going to be, you know, more difficult for especially young kids to be able to get, you know, past that barrier. Because, you know, kids are inquisitive. They want to see what's going on, and they're going to stick their interest in areas that, you know, are less safe. So that's number one for me.
Good stuff, Pastor.
Yes, everything should be clearly marked, because a lot of people will get into trouble because things have been mismarked or haven't been marked. So, and just as the others were talking about, there needs to be better traffic pattern when it comes to those things, because when they're stopping construction, there needs to be each proper detours, proper indications of what to do and how to go around these certain barriers that they're going to have to go. And also, if anything, there has to be some type of policing, and that people will know how to work this out. So, in conjunction with the city, there needs to be better traffic routing, policing, and better indication at markings for the areas that may be uncovered. And not only that, but don't have plywood there, have steel or metal, have metal plating that cannot be easily lifted up.
Really good. Thank you. Mr. Haywood.
You know, just looking at some of the answers that's there, I think for me personally, the number one would honestly be clear communication. And I think with clear communication, everything else, honestly, I know when I picked my answers, I did 2020 2020 because I think they're all equally important. I mean, the clear communication one would help with the safety of the residents as well as the workers. And then, I mean, also, of course, respect to property, knowing what's going on, and then not just having a one-way form of communication, having two ways of communication just in case something does happen to an individual, property, or anything, but having both ways of communication.
Awesome. And speaking of such, this kind of leads to our final question here. We got about 5 minutes left. What would be the best way for residents to report issues and get a response? Just type the answers in. Thank you, Carl. Carl put in the chat. Also secure worker equipment machinery so it can't be played with or tampered with. Set up temporary information board at job site. Excellent. Maggie, the previous, Dr. Maggie, the previous question, don't let stakeholder meetings become a checkbox exercise. I love it. You can't account for everything, but implement a plan for things in advance during as they come up. Excellent. Thank you for the feedback there, Maggie. All right, best way, real-time text message. A hotline connecting to program team. Apps, text message, hotline. I like it. I haven't seen that one in a while. Text similar to 311. So talk a little bit about that as more responses come in. Text similar to 311. What are features about 311 that we like? Explain that a little bit. Whoever put that. I'm assuming it's probably maybe someone on the program team. But let me talk about this. Is 311 helpful?
It can be, but I think the response time would not be conducive to something that's an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
But it's helpful. But I think setting up a new line that would be directly for that each project or app where you can, put in real time something that happens immediately and get somebody to respond to that. And they have like a hotline, like they said, but a hotline connected to a number that would be immediate response.
The thing that comes to mind when I look at this is the city of Buffalo's notification system when there's weather updates, when there's going to be storms, snowstorms, or if there's going to be any changes. Those of you who are connected to that and get updates, I think that's kind of what comes to mind when I see these responses. Miss Angie, Buffalo, thank you, Brittany.
Hi, thank you. I would like to say that, and it's probably a sad response that people don't want to hear or may not believe it, but it's according to what area you're doing the construction. You could be on one side of town and they will love a hotline and they will love to get on the computer or whatever the other suggestions were. But when you come into another neighborhood that they traditionally and historically likes to take care of things like face to face or not take care of it at all because they don't want to be a bother or because they feel that their concerns are going to go on deaf ears because of what has happened in the past. So, whatever you decide to do for whatever project you're working on, please consider the dynamic of the community. I know over here on Norfolk and maybe a couple surrounding streets, you're not going to have anyone that's going to call some hotline. We're just getting accustomed to calling 311. Okay. That has just happened. that, with trainings and block club meetings and public meetings, we're learning to utilize 311. And then some people have stopped utilizing 311 because it takes months and months for some things to get, take addressed, or if they get addressed at all. So I would consider, like, if you were doing a construction project like they're doing over here, that wouldn't work. You set up a site where either each neighbor has a business card, and I will say that the McGuire group did do that. They gave us business cards. That if you wanted to contact, they could. But some neighbors still didn't even utilize that. They walk right over to the construction uh, project headquarters, and they still want to talk to the people on the construction site. And so, but they can't do anything. They tell you stuff to pacify it. And sometimes, during this long lengthy project, they did like do some, do what they promised, because they had some humility and they were able to communicate with the neighbors. And so, and I will say, consider all these are great things, but a lot of folks don't live in the same neighborhood. And so that's my suggestion when you do your projects, over in my community, on the different ways to address it.
And I believe you are closest to Colorado, not far from the OSC building, and that area over there. We are out of time, but I did see Miss Ellen as we conclude this. I did see Miss Ellen with her hand raised.
Yes, I did raise my hand. I appreciate what Angie shared, because I think that has been, disparity on the east side in different neighborhoods. So I just think if we have construction projects that are being slated to move forward, and we develop a system, like you said, like the snow removal, and those actually have maps connected to the app where you can actually see real time when the vehicles are moving and things like that. So I think that would help with some of the disparity she spoke about, as far as people feeling like they're actually going to receive help when they need help, instead of having to wait long periods of time, and just because of what community they're located in or access. So when these things are being developed, we have to keep in mind, all the communities should be served in the same level of respect and need. So, and that's one thing that's, we know as a people that there's been a lot of disparities, and a lot of things have fallen through the cracks for us in our community. So I think some of these projects and us being in forums like this will help to rectify and to address and pinpoint some of these problems, so that they can actually lift them up to be viable and make some changes.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. This is, we are 1 minute over, and I'm going to take responsibility for that. What I'm going to do, because I think this is really good and important, Kate, before she went on maternity leave, we're working in partnership with J.M. Davison on a mascot. And so I do want to take just maybe, 10 seconds. I know it's, 10 seconds is unreal to talk about that. But as we close this out, I want to continue to keep in touch with this. One of the things that we've been thinking about is creating, maybe a chat type opportunity where we can continue to, stay informed and those types of things. But any additional ideas or thoughts, please send me an email. We want to make sure that we are capturing this information. We're going to bring it back to the camp. We're going to synthesize it and go through it. And of course, throughout the conversations and throughout our stakeholder advisory meetings, we want to continue to bring it back to you and see if we got it right. Of course, there will be other things we'll continue to add to that. And this is part of that, collaborative effort where, we want to make sure that, we got some information from our stakeholder advisors that represent the various communities and neighborhoods throughout the city, but we want to make sure we're continuing to have these conversations. I see Brittany with her hand raised.
Oh, yeah, I was also typing. I was just gonna say, is there a way to add like another QR code real quick where they can give additional feedback or like anything that didn't fit the parameters of the previous question, like all of the items that Miss Leverett was mentioning didn't fit those options, and then they can
Yeah,
still give feedback.
actually, we had, yeah, there is, and we'll send it out. We actually had one more interactive session that was on a whiteboard with some sticky notes, and we were going to, obviously we're out of time, but we were going to share that. So what I will do is I will send the link to that so that we can interact with that. You can put your comments in. It's a ranking board. You can put your comments in. You can rank the questions. We can look at those opportunities and things. It's a priority. What are your top priorities for managing construction impacts in your neighborhood? Is it managing dust and trash management? Is it rodent control? Is it noise control? Is it traffic control? And then we have a host of other things with some sticky notes. So I will send the QR code link to you all so that you can participate in that, and so we can get some of that additional information. We are 5 minutes over. I do believe Taylor Brown is still on. There she is. All right, Taylor, I normally, we got 30 seconds.
All right,
This is
that's
like
fine.
an
I can
elevator
do 30
pitch.
seconds. Okay, so the idea that we had was to hold a mascot contest open to Buffalo Public School students, kindergarten through 12th, where they design a mascot for the second annual Queen City Clean Waters Fair. So this is just a draft that we put together. We can send this out. First prize being a $100 gift card to the Buffalo Zoo, a first prize for K through 4th, 5th through 8th, and 9th through 12th. And then a grand prize. And the grand prize being that mascot will be used for the fair on promotional materials. So I will get this finalized and send it out to you guys. The thing that we would like your help with is getting the word out. And then also, if you're interested in being the judges for the mascot contest, once we have all of the entries in May, just voting for which mascots are your favorite for each of the categories. So give a thumbs up if you would like to be part of that. I see a heart. Is there a bunch of hearts? I have my screen closed. Do the people like it, Art?
Yes, we're getting
Okay.
hearts. So
All right,
let's
good.
get it out to them. Yeah, this is really good. We got some judges who are going to participate.
Perfect. And then I'll just plug also the first open house for the Breckenridge Street project is this Saturday, and you'll see some posts going up on social media about that for that one, and then the two following. So if you want to come, please come.
Fantastic. So with every meeting, we never like to end without updates, what's going on with the stakeholders. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a rapid fire edition. I don't like being in a deficit where I go over meetings. I kind of take pride on finishing meetings early. That's not the case here, but it was a productive meeting. So if we do, I know Ms. Liverette then already gave an update. Let's go around and let's take 10 seconds. Literally, I got my stopwatch. If you have anything going on, announcements, 10 seconds, no form or fashion. You don't have to raise your hand. Let us know what you have going on in the upcoming month. What should we be a part of? What event meetings are coming up that we need to be aware of?
I'll go. Trinidad Neighborhood Association Earth Day, Wednesday, Earth Day, April 22nd, in partnership with Sisters Hospital, Eastside Stewards, Go Bike Buffalo, and the Trinidad Neighborhood community. Come, help us, join us. It's a forum that's going to be coming out with a Google.
Beautiful.
I'll
Thank you.
piggyback on that. Waterkeeper on April 25th, we have our annual shoreline and community sweep. We have 40 sites across Western New York. I'll put the link in the chat and would love it if you guys all came out and joined us on the 25th of April.
There's another important event on the 25th, Sandy, but yes, that is awesome. Fantastic. I think Rashika, you were going to make an announcement. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you totally forgot your wife, but it's okay.
You
I
can't
want-
say it like that.
I just wanted to let the stakeholders know there were a couple of you that reached out in regards to end of year tax forms. If you haven't generated at least $600 with us as a stakeholder committee, you wouldn't have received that. So please do not file an extension because of us. So you're good to go. But if you have earned over $600 in 2025 and did not get your 1099, let me know. But everyone should have received it. So if you did not, it's because of that threshold has not been met. That was it.
Fantastic. And my apologies, you were early on the agenda. Any other announcements, events? Thank you all so much for attending. And thank you for your feedback. We value it tremendously. You all have a wonderful and fantastic evening. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.